and welcome to the Encore Offstage podcast. This is a conversational podcast where we talk about all things theatre. I'm Lucy GAZZARD.
I'm Ben Bradley.
And I'm Adam Guest.
Wow.
Hello, everyone.
Hey up, everybody. How are we all doing?
All good. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been great. It's been really busy, as always, you can expect.
As always, yeah. It's too right. Well, yeah, not too bad, guys. Not too bad. The cupboard's a little bit dusty, so I need a new Hoover.
Okay. So we're going to start this week with Lucy. Lucy, what have you got for us?
Well, I have got a quiz for you both, so I'll be pitting you against each other today.
Oh.
So today's quiz is going to be badly explained plot lines.
Oh, no.
So if you know the answer, I want you to chime in. So we'll start with you, Adam. What is your sound that you'll be chiming in today? Beautiful.
Creative.
Thank you.
And Ben, what will you be heralding your answer?
So I've nicked my dog's toy, so there we go. it's really quite...
It sounds like it's had a good scene too.
If you're hearing nothing, you know why.
It's the most pathetic sound. Oh, God.
Sounded like me last week, but just like...
Right then, are you two both ready?
I'm, as ever I will be, madam.
Yeah, and other things like that.
So, your first badly explained plot line. A small island has a big heart.
Oh, is it Come From Away?
It is indeed Come From Away.
Oh, of course it is.
It's off to a flying start.
Just
you won't remember, Ben. I've got your ankles. All right, I'm after your ankles. Okay.
Okay.
Are we ready for number two?
We are.
Yes. Yeah. Just make an easy one.
A reclusive composer kidnaps a young woman. Yes, Adam.
Phantom of the Opera.
It is indeed Phantom of the Opera. I read this next one and I was like, why is Adam in this question? But it's fine. Guests get cozy in a snowed-in B&B. Is that you tapping, Adam?
It is me tapping, but I'm not sure.
Go on. What is it?
It's not Holiday Inn, is it?
No, it is not Holiday Inn. Ben, you have a chance to steal. Do you want me to read the...
Yes, please, read it again.
So, guests get cozy in a snowed-in B&B.
Are these musicals?
They're not all musicals, no.
Oh, okay. No idea.
Do you want me to give you both a clue?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. And we're buzzing in.
You're buzzing in for this one. This show is based on a famous horror author writer. That was Adam.
I want to say The Shining.
No, Ben, you have a chance to steal.
That's what I was going to say. It's Snowed In B&B, which is The Shining. King. So unless it... Oi! Shush. Shush. Unless it's Carrie, I don't know. But
no. Is it Misery?
No, you're both thinking the wrong writer here. It's Agatha Christie, and it's Mousetrap.
Oh, of course.
That is
I've seen that show.
I've
even read the show.
You've seen it.
I've read it and I've been in it. So
I've never even seen it.
Poorly.
Because they keep the secret, don't they? So I don't know what happens in it.
It's very predictable.
It's a great show. But no, you were thinking Stephen King rather than Agatha Christie there. So nil point. Right, next question. A famous writer and his wife meddle in some young lover's story.
It's really hard. Your mind just goes blank, doesn't it?
You should know this, man. You should definitely know this.
Why should I definitely know this?
You've mentioned it before. So, a famous writer and his wife meddle in the young lovers story. Emphasis on young lovers. And this is a musical theatre show.
Ooh. I don't know. Gonna have a go. No, I'm not. I was gonna say Rocky Horror, but it's not.
No.
No. What is it?
Adam, do you want to steal?
No, the only thing.
One more clue. One more clue. It is based on a famous Shakespearean play.
We're just going to have to guess at Anne Juliet.
Yes, it is Anne Juliet.
That'd be why I didn't know that one either. Okay,
how did I mention that to you? I don't remember that.
You've mentioned it ages ago on the podcast before. So, next question. Are we both ready? Ben, at the minute you are leading by 1.
Okay.
A pathological liar starts a new religion in Africa. Ben, Adam.
Book of Mormon.
Yes, Book of Mormon. You are both neck and neck again.
I've never even listened to Book of Mormon. I need to.
It's Africa that gave it away.
Okay, so next question. Girl invites all of her mum's exes to her wedding.
Mamma.
That was you, Ben, yes, and it was Mamma. Correct. Just pipped you there, Adam.
Right, okay.
Victorious.
So, next question.
Can I mute Ben?
I can mute you, though.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, are we both ready?
We are.
Yeah.
So, the next question. The life story of a French bread thief. It was Ben just then pipped you to it.
Les Miserables.
It is Les Miserables.
Right, I'm smacking this harder. Because I was there. I was there before Ben. I'm sorry.
It's obviously the power of having a proper microphone, Adam.
Okay, right. Fighting words.
So, next one. A handful of women bond over the man they all dated.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's wrong. I thought about Chicago, but it's not right.
No, not Chicago. Adam?
Oh.
Handful of women bond over. Is this musical theatre show?
This is a musical theatre show, yeah.
I know it.
A handful of women.
I just thought I know what it is.
Mine's gone blank.
Are you going to pass?
Yes, Ben, I'm going to pass.
I'm allowed to answer now.
Yes, go for it.
Is it 6?
It is 6, Ben.
Oh! That's not a handful! Handful is 5! Sorry.
One of them might be a pretty small woman.
And the one dated, they married him. Okay.
They are badly explained, Adam.
Yeah, they're badly explained botline.
Okay,
the quiz. You've just broken the question down to the quiz.
Okay, next one. Come on, you can still. You're gonna lose, but you can still redeem yourself.
Thanks. Cheers. Yeah, great.
So
next week.
Next question. A misunderstood teenager tries to take down a fascist dictator. Yes, Ben.
Is it Matilda the musical?
No, it is not. Although I like that as an answer, though, Matilda. It's not Matilda, though.
I mean, calling Miss Trunchbull a fascist dictator is quite a good description, I think.
Teenager. Oh, I've heard this described before, and I can't remember what the answer was.
Do you want to pass or have another clue? And then you can both.
Can I have a clue, please?
Okie dokie.
Are we both allowed to buzz in on this one?
Yep, you're both allowed.
No!
Little clue. Unless you want to throw in a quick answer before I do this, Adam. You got.
No, do the clue. Do the clue.
The colour green is key. Yes, Adam.
Wicked.
Yes, it is wicked.
Yes.
Okay, your final one. Are you both ready?
So who's in the lead here?
You are.
By how many?
Yeah, all right, okay. Rip it in, Ben.
By 2?
By 2, because you both got one wrong. Okay, so your final question. Are you both ready? Future vice president shoots his old friend. Yes, Ben.
Oh.
Is it Hamilton?
It is Hamilton. So that was a resounding mark of 6 to Ben and 3 to Adam. Well done. Well done, Ben.
Well done, Ben. Well done, Ben.
Well done, Adam, for playing.
Okay. You wait till next week.
Oh, I can't wait for next week. Right. That was a brilliant quiz. Mostly because I won.
Yeah. That was a really good quiz. Yeah.
Right. We're going to head into Adam now. Adam, what have you got for us other than bitterness?
Other than bitterness, I have got a topic I wanted to just talk to you guys about. Now, a lot of people throughout history who have become famous performers, famous actors, and said, I was always in the right place at the right time. And I wanted to talk about this and just think, is there such a thing as the right place and the right time? So what I'm thinking about is a lot of people that go, if I hadn't have been at this point, if this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have gone to this place, and so-and-so wouldn't have seen me, and they wouldn't have asked me to read this, and then I wouldn't have got this part, and I wouldn't have gone on to do this. Whereas a lot of other people, it's like a lot of open auditions for shows like Les Mis or things. They do these open auditions, and everybody in their thousands go and audition when actually they probably already have people in mind, or they will cast people that have had professional training and that sort of experience before. So it's more of a marketing exercise. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about what we thought about the right place and the right time. Does it exist? And if so, where does it exist? And who can we think of that this happened to? Or is it more a case of that the less it's less likely to be that, or is it a case of people work hard and they get what's owed to them? What do we think?
Oh, well, if I kick this off, I think in my personal experience, some of it has come down to right place, right time. But that's predominantly when there have been shows that have been looking for somebody that my age or my playing age or my style, or who, like my first panto job, they were looking specifically for a young boy to play a certain role. I filled that role and I stayed on with them for 3 more years. And then again, when I met you, Adam, it happened to be right place, right time. If you hadn't known the contact that we met through, if I hadn't been friends with that person, if that link hadn't been made, we wouldn't be here now. And I wouldn't have done all the things I've done the last year and a half. So, and then again, when I directed Haunted Cabin, that came really down to knowing a contact who texted me and said, I'd like you to assistant direct. So for me, it's come down for being here at the right point, knowing the right people, and through word of mouth and at the right time.
But is that right place, right time, or is that knowing?
I wouldn't say that is right place, right time. Like for me, right place, right time is just that you happen to be there and you happen to fit what they want. Whereas that is sort of, it's not what you do, it's who you know.
But again, if I hadn't have been at that place where I'd met that person who then went, oh yeah, I know this bloke in Woolerton or West Richmond and things, and had that not happened, then I wouldn't be here. So I think
it's quite a hard one. I think
it's a hard one.
A lot of the time, I think as well, like it's happy accidents in a way. So you might not necessarily be going for something. I've found quite a few times you've gone for something and been given something else because they think your face fits better, and that's actually benefited you more. You've sort of, you've gone for one thing and you've not actually, Haunted Cabin, I went there, I'd never done a play in my life, and I said, I'm happy just to be a ghost. I was happy just rocking up, just standing in the background.
Well, I think that was one of the things that clinched it, not gonna lie. When I cast in that show, I was like, yeah, Lucy. But again, that wasn't right place, right time for you. That was just, you were the best person who auditioned on the day for that part.
right place, right time for me, because I just happened to see it. I was sort of just thinking I'd like to do a play, saw it, and I was like, well, this is in my area. I'll go along and I'll just try it and see what happens. So from my it literally was just right place, right time, because I just sort of, and I was late, rocked up late.
You were. And we still gave you the part.
So do we think that is a thing then? Do we think that right place, right time is a thing? I mean, you have these stories where people have gone, there's been an extra somewhere, and then somebody's gone, we need so and so and so. I think that's what a lot of people think. They think that a right place, right time is that they're working on something else. Someone goes, oh, so and so's dropped out. We need anybody like that. Oh, you'll do. Come in, and then they become the next big thing. Is that what we think, right place, right time? Or do we think it is literally a case of who we know, and because of who we know, that's the right place and the right time?
I think
it's interesting. I'm not saying there's an answer.
No, I think sort of that helps. If you know the right people, that helps, because sometimes they give you the opportunity.
And but quite often knowing the right people comes out of just a coincidental meeting at that right point.
I'm a great believer in it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Definitely.
And it's like, I get a lot of jokes from people saying to me, it's like, oh, I know everybody. But it's not because I'm just social. I'm not trying to do it to get to know everybody. Well, I am, but I am a social person, a very friendly person. So most of the time people go, oh, so I do, yeah. But I never, very, very, very rarely will I actually go, oh, I know so-and-so, I can ask them if they'll help me with that, because I don't think that's fair. I'm the person that sort of goes, right, okay, I don't like to use people for their contacts.
But do you use your contacts to aid in things, to help out in things? If you know someone who's...
I might do. I might say to somebody, oh, can you help us with this because you have access to such and such, but at the same time you will be paid for it, or you'll get, if it's their job, I make sure they get paid for it.
Yeah.
I don't like to do favors. I don't like to owe people. That makes sense. So it's a case. I think so. In the same sense, it's like it's less a case of right place, right time. Oh, by the way, I know so and so. Oh, they can help us with this. Oh, it just so happens that I know somebody who's got a van, or somebody who's got a workshop, or somebody who's,
I think as well.
It's tough.
I think as well, right place, right time really works as well if you're right face, because I don't think sort of like you're gonna, if you rock up for something and you're not the right fit, it's never going to be right place, right time, because you're just not that sort of fit of what they're wanting for that. You've got to be sort of like logical with where you're getting your right place, right time.
The one example I can think of is Whoopi Goldberg. Now, Whoopi Goldberg, nobody wanted to audition her at all. All the stuff that made her famous were written for other people. So Sister Act was actually written for Bette Midler.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, Sister Act was written for Bette Midler. What else? Jumping Jack Flash was written for somebody else. And she got they didn't want to audition her for Ghost. It was only Patrick Swayze that went, you can't do this without auditioning Whoopi Goldberg.
I find that crazy, because Whoopi Goldberg is amazing.
Yeah,
she's amazing, but nobody wanted to see her. Nobody wanted to. She says now that she won the Oscar for Ghost, and she, in her speech, she thanked Patrick Swayze. She didn't thank anybody else. She said she thanked Patrick Swayze because he gave her the opportunity to audition for it. So, again, is that who you know, or is that right place, right time? Because without those roles that she did, she wouldn't be as famous as she is now.
No.
Same with like Julie Andrews as well. Same thing happened with My Fair Lady. Part got passed on to Audrey Hepburn, and they were like, well, we've got this part for Mary Poppins. Do you want to give it a go? And she ended up winning the award that year over My Fair Lady for it.
But also, she was supposed to be doing a show with Rodgers and Hammerstein, and somebody rung her up and said, "Look, we've got this brand new musical that's come up, and we want, we think you want to audition for it." And she says, "Well, I'm tied into this show with Rodgers and Hammerstein," and they went to Rodgers and Hammerstein. She went to Rodgers and Hammerstein, and they said, "No, go and do it." And it turned out it was My Fair Lady in the stage. It was opening of My Fair Lady. So if she hadn't done that, she wouldn't have got noticed for anything else.
Yeah.
So again, it's all these knock-on effects that I think it's like, well, is this? I think what I'm trying to get at is it a state of mind where people think, oh, I was in the right place at the right time, or is it a case of other people should step back and go, let's look at the whole picture? What caused that to happen?
Yeah, I think as well. It's not, when you look back, and it's nice to look at the people that have helped you and have got you to that point by being in the right place at the right time. So that is it's almost a way of recognizing the support you've had and the people that have helped you, as well, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I don't have any answers at all. I don't have it. This is one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up, was because it's something that you hear a lot. They go, "Oh, I was in the right place at the right time," and I go, "Were you really, or was it the fact that you knew somebody that gave you led to that opportunity to happen?"
But again, as I keep saying, you wouldn't have known that person had you not been right place, right time.
I certainly think as well that sort of, maybe not networking is the right word, but certainly within sort of like theatre circles, socializing and just generally being nice to everybody is key. Because I know so many people where they've done a show and somebody's gone, "Oh, they'd be great for your show," and recommended them. But would they be recommending you if you were, not being nice to other people on set and just...
Yeah, and that works both ways, doesn't it, Adam? It works with people that we're told to avoid.
Times somebody said to me, "What about set?" I go, "No, I've heard so many bad things about them that I won't use them." I won't, and that's a bit cruel in the sense of, but you sort of, you want to make your life a bit easier. And like you say, it's your personality as well. Does your face fit? Does your personality work with
everybody? Exactly.
Will you get on with people?
Yeah,
especially in amateur theatre, because people do it for a hobby, and you don't want to be doing it, for like 6 months or whatever, and be absolutely miserable every single day. So I think that's key. And again, it depends on your reliability. It depends on your ability to perform, use personality with people, and like you say, that then it's a small community, believe it or not. Considering the fact it's across the whole country and the whole world, people talk, and people hear things, and I think that's one of the reasons why people say, "Oh, do you know so and so?" "Yeah, I know so and so." "What have you heard?" "Oh, yeah, this, that, and the other." "Have you heard about such and such?" And you don't want to get into gossip, but at the same time, you just want to know what people like to work with, so that if from a director's point of view, you want to go, "Oh, what about so and so?" If they, Joe Bloggs, "Oh yeah, he's good. How did he do with?" "Yeah, he did very well." "Yeah, oh great. What's it? It's a bit of a struggle to work with." Okay, right. So what alarm bells start going on? But they could be brilliant personality. They could be brilliant actor, performer, whatever. But if they're a bit difficult to direct, that's that right place, right time gone. Or is it the people that they've worked with? Again, it's the debate, it's the paradox. Does one feed the other? It's hard, but I just wanted to bring it up and just discuss it.
I do think they play off each other, don't they? I think that's the thing. I think you have to have both. I think you have to be in the right place at the right time to know the right people. That's the next to take you where you want to go, to have that next step. So in overall, then it's pretty important. For right place, right time. But is it?
Yep.
Can you pin that as the one thing that makes someone successful? Probably not, because you have to acknowledge all the people around you at the point.
Exactly, and you have to have the talent. You can't just have the face that fits. You've got to be able to do the work. Yeah. This is the thing about some people, is that you've got to have the talent. You've got to have the ability to work with people, but it's not just a case of, "Oh, I was working in this building and they were filming such and such, and so I popped round and I was stood in the back of the room and the director went, 'You'll do, you're perfect.'" Because I think the reason I wanted to bring it up also is that I think a lot of people going into going into the profession of acting and performing, and they have this idea that they've just got to be in the right place at the right time. Whereas you've got to work damn hard to get that opportunity to be seen. Right place, right time is one thing, but you've got to be seen. If you're not seen, you won't get the work. I think that's what people get mixed up, is they think that I can do anything. I'll go out and they'll see me, and then everybody become famous, because people want fame and they want glory. Whereas actually, just to go, you know what, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. You know, to work and things. So, yeah, that was one of the things I just wanted to talk about. So,
no, that's absolutely brilliant. Brill, let's move on to my section this week, which is an interview with Maurice Fisher, the musical director. We've all worked with him. He's lovely. And we had a lovely chat the other day. So this is what happened when I spoke to Maurice Fisher. So, Maurice, thank you so much for joining me this week on the podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, I'm interested in a nutshell, you're a musical director. What is the role of a musical director, really? How would you describe it?
Well, the musical director is responsible for working with the creative team. That's a director and probably a choreographer in certain cases, preparing musical theatre productions for public performance. Musical directors oversee the musical aspects of the musical theatre pieces or opera productions that I've done in the past, including casting the performers, hiring the orchestra, rehearsing singers and rehearsing members of the orchestra, and conducting the orchestra during a performance. That's how I see me as a musical director.
Wow, so it's a really quite full-on job, isn't it? You have a lot to do. And I've worked with you, or briefly worked with you on 2 shows now that I've done, and I've sort of came in backwards, because I started on seeing you on Chicago. I saw you just as a conductor, and I saw you playing along there, and then in Oklahoma when I was working with you as a musical director, and it's. So I'm interested, when really do you start in a production then? Do you come in right at the beginning, or is it more towards the end?
I think when you've got a company that wants and gets a creative team together, we have probably quite a month or 2 just working together to see what's going to happen, because we all have different visions of a show.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
So, you know, it's trying to get a balance between the whole 3 of us, particularly when we're working for, say, Oklahoma, say, for instance, how we saw it working with Rachel and Adam and myself, and really working with them to create what we think is going to be the best production we could possibly give to an audience, and a more realistic performance as well. And this can change, to be honest, during rehearsals, because some characters can put something in that we think, oh my goodness, we didn't see that. It looks good, let's keep it in. So it's our vision, but I like to see that the characters themselves come to life and they have a vision themselves of what they see a character is. Whether we like it or not is another matter, but we do like to work with them, because if they're very happy doing it a certain way and we're happy with them doing it a certain way, that's it. And I think, you know, with working with Adam, a lot of it was the way they were doing things, and certainly accents.
Yes.
Very important in the role and everything. And so, yeah, I think it is hard, because, you know, we all have different versions of how we see a show going on. But in the long run, we're all aiming to achieve the best possibility out of the group they're working with.
Yeah, because I think you worked us quite hard with our singing, I remember, specifically. But so you mentioned that you assemble this orchestra. How do you sort of go about selecting people? Because I can imagine that's pretty sort of cutthroat. Do you have a regular group of people that you work with?
I have many players that I can call on to play for shows, and depending on the show, depending on the number of players I have or what's required for a show, and taking personalities into account, it's getting the right mixture of people so they gel as players. They're all good players, but some are probably, I hate to say this, some are a bit more temperamental than others and don't like working with certain people. So I try and get them to work well together, and I have a really tight band of players that like working together. you know. And some people say, "Oh, you haven't used me for a while." No, it's fine. We're fully booked for this particular show. Particularly with Oklahoma, it was going to be a small ensemble, and I think you had to get a group of players that will work well together. Most of them played on actually Chicago as it happened, but certainly I've had to arrange bands from 3 pieces right up to 50, you know. Yes. Depending on this sort of things. When you're doing a grand opera at Buxton Opera House, you need a fairly reasonable sized orchestra, rather than, I wouldn't call it a band, it's an orchestra.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got about 8 first violins and things like that.
God.
So,
yeah,
you've got to have that sort of thing. But yeah, yes, I think that you've got to wisely choose the players that you're having to make it work well. Most of the players I've worked with, some of them I've worked with them for an awful long time. Some are fairly new to me. Come on recommendations, you know, and or come up through to me and said, "Would you like to? Can I play for you sometime?" And then you sort of you dilly dally, because I think, well, I need a second trumpet. Do I really need this person? And when they come and you think, "Oh, they're really good, we'll use these again." Yeah.
So do you audition them then? Almost.
No. If I tend to go and hear what they've done, or being in the theatre world, I see most shows that go on, and I can tell from the sound they make who I would use.
Okay, so it comes from an experience of watching them rather than a audition process. That's really I thought it'd be different. It's fascinating.
You're watching and hearing at the same time. Yeah. An example, I was watching a show, I'm not going to say which show it was, and I said, "Well, that clarinet is a bit flat, you know."
Right, yeah.
He needed to lip it up a little bit. It was a bit flat, but you do listen to things like that. Yeah.
So when you come in on a show, I know with Oklahoma, you were doing the orchestrations, and that was a massive job. So specifically when you're doing things like that, or when you're conducting, or even when you're playing, how far are you allowed to deviate from a score?
The difficulty here is it is all down to the licensee and whether it's out of copyright, which a lot of these shows aren't. And it could be an old show, but it's not out of copyright. It's, you know, it's 100 years old, but it might not be out of copyright because you're using the orchestration that's done in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very, very careful on that. And I'm saying this tongue in cheek a little bit. We do cheat a little bit on orchestrations because, you know, I would probably have to write something in a different way to get it right because I haven't got those instruments.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, we decided on a small band to make it more like a fiddle and drums. And stuff.
It was quite impromptu, wasn't it?
To make it sound if it was sort of the period at the time. But try and keep the music as traditional as possible because it's Rodgers and Hammerstein. You can't go wrong with that.
No.
I think that deviations really only occur when you can cut pieces out. Maybe you can cut numbers out of a show. You can't cut the story out of the show. You might be able to cut things out. You might be able to put things in if there were possibly to include it. Say for the Sound of Music, for instance, there's a couple of numbers, a duet, and there's certainly a song that Maria sings and the captain sings that were in the certainly in this film version, but not in the show version.
Yeah.
But you can actually put those in.
Okay.
But unfortunately, sometimes some producers say, "Well, having both lots in," I think, "Oh God, the show's long enough as it is."
Yeah.
You know, most of the shows we used to do in the past were sort of 3-hour long shows, which.
You want to take as much as you can out of that, can't you?
Yeah. So, but it generally speaking, if it's copyrighted, it's very difficult to actually do much about it.
So there's no point where sort of your almost personal ambition as a musician to put something different in. Is there a point where that crosses into where you can't go legally in things?
Well, yes, because if you get the licensee going to listen to the show and think, we'll put this song in, it's not in the show,
Yeah.
and you put this extra song in. However, a few years back, we were doing an Ivor Novello show called Glamorous Night. It's a very dated show that we decided, it was 3 acts, we wanted to get it down to 2 acts.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked with Christopher Hassel's, I think, great nephew or something like that, who has the rights to the show, to rewrite the show and allowed to put extra numbers in, which I orchestrated. And it, in fact, they're still waiting for my orchestrations. I can't find what I've done with them, but yeah, but you can do things as long as you've got permission to do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. So I suppose let's take it back now to the beginning. And so now you're very well known as a musical director, but I'm interested in the journey. And I know that's a very cliche term, but how did you start with this as a career path?
The difficulty is I did start as a singer and performer on stage. So starting from school, I was doing parts at school, certainly right from junior school right the way through to senior school and everything. Yeah. And then I left school and then uni came along and you were doing things like that. When I actually, we moved to Castle Donington with my family, I joined the local operatic society, which is Melbourne District Operatic Society, who did Gilpin and Sullivan. And the first year I was in the ensemble, but the next years I played most of the principal baritone parts, or in fact, the second year I was singing the second tenor lead in the show at that time, because it wasn't too high. But from that, I was asked to be the musical director for the Derby Youth Orchestra. By doing that, it gave me the experience of conducting a band or an orchestra. And so when I decided that I would like to do more of that, they asked me to actually be the musical director for Melbourne District Operatic Society.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I did many shows with them. And I used regular experienced players that I'd worked with over the years, plus I integrated the youth players into it, which some of them now play for me nowadays.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I encourage the youth to play and get on and play shows, because it's not an easy thing. It's all right playing it in an orchestral symphony, say, for instance. You take and put them in a show, it's a different kettle of fish, it's a different type of kettle of fish. But that's how I started conducting into that thing. And then the first thing after Melbourne, I think I was appointed as a musical director for Colton and Operatic Society in Nottingham, and I did a fantastic production of South Pacific with them. But I was thrown into that production with about a month before the show because the musical director went ill. And at that time, I didn't know the show that well, but I certainly got to know it because some of the tunes you knew very, very well. Yeah. But at that stage, I got there, all the orchestra was booked. I didn't have to do anything. All I did was go in, empty the show, then empty the big band that we had. It was all properly official in those days at the Nottingham Playhouse. But I did 3 shows with them after that. And then I moved on to doing things with Present Company and other companies around the town. But that's where I started, really. And that South Pacific was quite a start for me because it was the first time working in a bigger theatre. And certainly we took that production under the guise of Present Company over to Buxton Opera House, and I did it to Buxton as well. And really that's my start at Present Company, and I've done, 54 shows?
Whoa.
Since 1999 with them. So some of them have been repeats, but of the shows. Sometimes we used to do 2 or 3 shows a year at various places. So sometimes we used to do sort of 2 shows at Buxton, then take the 2 shows to Derby, say, for instance. So, but they were still another production to do.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you started as a theatre performer more than a musician. So did you have a music background there? Because I'm interested in how you were asked to conduct. How did you learn? Were you learning on the job? Because that's quite a big task.
It is a big task, and it was hard learning actually. Although I sort of am a graduate of the Royal Academy of Music with singing and everything, and I used to sing professionally, so I've worked with lots of professional orchestras and things like that in this country, and certainly abroad, and mainly oratorio. So and I think that the feeling is always there. I'm not the most perfect of conductors, I must admit, but my band know me and will go with me. So and I think the older you get, the better you get sometimes. More mature, but it depends on the shows. Some of the most difficult shows I've ever done is the Lloyd Webber stuff. But it's the way the timings are and everything. But it was a case of learning the hard way sometimes. But with having 10 years experience with the youth orchestra, it was really good. We actually took them to Germany on tour, which was really nice.
Wow.
And we had really good fab reviews, and the German orchestra there said, why can't we play music like you? We play all the Germanic stuff, and you're playing Lerner and Lowe, Hammerstein and Vaughan Williams, Mozart, and playing stuff that people will like. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. So I can get a real sense from this. You just love it, don't you? Like, you sort of ooze this. I remember in Chicago, you had this sparkly jacket on, you were coming out, and you just love it. But is there a reason behind why you love it and why you carried on for so long?
I think it's because of the love of it, because there's no better thrill than being with musicians and singers and doing a performance. And being on the stage even makes it better sometimes.
Yeah.
Live theatre is just a wonderful thing to be, whether it's a straight play or is it a musical, an opera. It's just a wonderful thing to be part of, and enjoy watching as well, because I there's not many shows I've gone to that I think I could walk out of that. There's some I've thought of, but I don't, for obvious reasons sometimes. It was not called for. But it's just a wonderful thing to be part of, really. And seeing, we talk about the amateur and the professional world. There's no dividing line, because there's a lot of our amateur singers are far better than some of these professional singers. Performers, and you can't take that away. The comments I had from people that have seen, Chicago on Broadway and in London, said ours was far superior to what they'd seen. So, I'm sort of, but when you've got the performers doing what they're doing and enjoying what they're doing, it's just something special.
Yeah. And I think from that, we hate to talk about this, and we're going into 2021 in a not necessarily a brighter way at the moment. So I'm gonna ask, how has COVID has it affected your roles? And because your love for it comes from the love for live theatre, and that's something we're all sorely missing at the moment. How has that impacted what you see going forward as well?
It's been dreadful, really. I think there's sort of 5 shows sort of postponed, cancelled, whatever, over this period of time. And it's not just our shows, it's lots of shows. The professional world, the amateur world, we've just lost. A lot of us have not, there's been lots of podcasts and people doing their things and getting together, which is difficult to do anyway if you've not got the technology. And I haven't got that technology to be able to do that. But certainly, for me, I've had to put myself into work more, my own work, what I do for a living, but which I haven't retired yet. Not too long away, I don't think. But we've got a show that was postponed from August last year, which is hopefully be going on this year. We're hoping.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But I'm in the middle of reorchestrating that at the minute. So
that's good.
That gives me something to do.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's, you know, I've got one proposal to actually sing a couple of duets with somebody online.
Ooh.
I'm not...
you seem nervous, Maurice, about that.
I am. I mean, one's obviously a Mozart duet and one's a Lloyd Webber duet. So completely different.
Yeah, very different ends of the spectrum there.
I'm looking forward to that because it's someone that I used to have in my company, present company, that went to trained as a professional and now as a professional singer. So it is nice that you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's bring it to a nice optimistic look. Are there any shows that you have a desire to MD? Is there any? Do you want to say, or are you going to be partial types?
I got it down that shows that I'd like to do that I like. The first one being Sunset Boulevard. Mm-hmm. I've never done that one. I just love the music for Sunset Boulevard. Not saying it's the most popular ones, but I think that I'd love to do that. But then I would like to do the Marriage of Figaro by Mozart as well. So, because I've done a lot of operas, so you know it's a bit of both. But certainly, they're the two I would think I came out with. I was talking to Marin earlier. I said, "Wow, you've always wanted to do Sunset Boulevard," but then again, I always wanted to do Hunchback of Notre Dame as well. I saw it in many years ago. It was an awful product. Well, I thought it was Danny Minogue, I think, was playing the Esmeralda. It was awful. But other than that, it was, you know, the music's beautiful, you know. So they're the things I would like to do. I'd like to do an opera again, and I'd like to do some more musicals, but the cost of the musicals is so expensive to put on a musical show, particularly when you've got an orchestra involved. And if you can get down to, when I do shows for present companies, say for instance, because that's my main base really, we always look to see, is there a reduction? Yeah. First of all. Yeah. And then if there's a reduction, right, yet it gets down, it's half the band. That's fine, but can we get it down any further? What can we drop? Yeah. And I was doing Little Night Music, I think, which is a Sondheim, and it wanted 3 horns. Well, let's have 2 horns. What does the trombone do in this? There's 1 trombone. Oh, we play 3rd horn in bits. Right, we'll have that. And then the trombonist, who is a regular player, said, why don't you get another horn player? Because he might as well play half this stuff on the horn. I said, well, because I wanted a trombone, because there's trombone bits in it. Yeah. The horn hadn't got. So, yeah, it's difficult to get down to about 12 players for that sort of big show when you sort of want 20-odd players. But it worked very well.
Right, so hard questions now. Are there any downsides to the profession?
Yeah, if I was as a professional MD, for instance, or a professional singer, the downside is, where's your next check coming from? Yeah. You know, because it is a cutthroat. I've been there. I've been to auditions in London, and you know, the same people attending, the same people get the parts in most of the things. One of the things, I went to hold a hand of a very good friend of mine who's a good actress and a very pleasant singer. And she went to audition for the Pyjama Game that Simon Callow was actually producing, starting at Birmingham and then moving to London, which he did move to London. And I thought, oh, if you're going there, I'll have a go at it as well, because they need some older characters in the factory. So I went, and you know, you could hear them all, next please, next please, next please. You get it through a chorus, and I thought, well, I'll just start this. I'll sing this thing from Calamity Jane, Higher Than a Hawk from Calamity Jane, no, back to front, get the music. I actually sang the full song. I thought, just a minute, they've not stopped me, and I've got through the whole song. And Simon Callow came and says, well, I've got nothing for you, Mr. Fisher. Maurice, he says, I've got nothing in the show for you. Knowing full well he was looking for a particular person to play one of the leads in it, which I wouldn't have wanted anyway. I just wanted a chorus member in it. Yeah. Really. But it is difficult. These auditions are cutthroat at times. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's actually where your next check was coming from. I mean, singing professionally, you know, you can go and get £1,200 for a number. The next minute, you've only got 250 quid, you know, for something. So, but if you've got a regular gig, it's not so bad.
No, that's really interesting. So I'm going to ask a question which I haven't given you to prepare. And have you got any advice for anyone wanting to enter the musical industry in particular? Ignoring the current situation, if this wasn't happening, what would your advice be?
Go for it. I think go for it and see where you go, because I never stop anyone going into it. I think they've got to learn the hard way. Some people fall into it. I mean, one of my young proteges, as I say, he was 15 when he first played keyboards for me. You get requests saying, "Oh, I'd like to play that show," and I thought he's 15. He's got to be 16, you know, first of all. But anyway, he came and he played for many shows for me, and he got chosen when he finished his A-levels to go to the Royal Northern College of Music to do pop, mainly pop, really. He had one day there and he hated it, and now he is a professional musician, MD.
Wow.
So he's done very well. He's only 20. He's 22 now. 22 now, I think.
That's brilliant.
So, but I would always go for it. Go to college as well. Go to college and learn your trade.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant, and thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat to us today. It's been a real pleasure to have you on, actually, and hopefully we'll be able to have you on again to promote some stuff when we get back in there.
When we're doing some music again.
Hopefully, whenever that may be. Oh, but thank you so much for coming on, and you've been a delight. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers, Maurice.
Thank you.
Brilliant, Maurice. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us. It was lovely to speak to you. And now we've reached the end.
Yes, so it's time to banish Adam to the Encore cupboard. Off you go, Adam, into your cupboard.
I thought it was just Ben that was going to do that. Oh, okay.
Bye, Adam.
Everybody. Bye, guys.
Miss you already.
Bye, Ed. Love you.
Don't worry, people. He's well watered and fed in there.
Sometimes.
So it's a thank you to our wonderful guest, Maurice, and thank you so much to our wonderful audience for listening today. If you want to support us further, you can go on to our Insta, Facebook and Twitter pages on Encore Offstage Pod. And if you want to get more notifications on YouTube, then click subscribe and hit that notification bell. You can also support us further on Patreon. So from myself, Adam and Ben, we'll see you all next week. Bye.